Judge, for the record, I just want to renew my objection to the presence of the detective, especially in this case. There's been a lot of conversation between witnesses and police, and some of it, I think, going beyond the traditional police-witness relationship, and it can become an issue of fact later. So I would ask that she not be allowed to sit through this testimony.
I know that I'm gonna allow her to stay, and you can file something written downtown on the other case or on this one, if that's where it ends up. Go ahead, Miss Bailey. This is on People versus Drew Gilbert, in the matter on the second file ending in 0239.
Could you please restate your name for the record, spelling your first and last?
Anthony Martin, ANTHONY MARTIN.
And Mr. Martin, do you remember May 18th, 2022?
Yes,
On that date, were you at 8 Carmel?
March.
It can't be
18th.
May 18th, it's at last
Yep.
week. Yeah,
March
okay.
18th.
Thank you, I'm
yes.
sorry,
Thank
March. It is March 18th, I misspoke. And on March 18th, 2022, were you at 8 Carmel?
Yes,
Is that in Belleville,
yes,
Wayne County?
Yep.
So I'm gonna ask you to pull the microphone just a little bit closer to you, okay? So we
Okay.
can hear you.
okay.
What's at that 8 Carmel location?
Drew Gilbert's house.
That's Mr. Gilbert's home?
Yep.
What were you doing there?
I was hanging around drinking beers at a bonfire.
Who all was there?
Drew, his girlfriend India, and Aviana. When I first got there, there was Rachel and her boyfriend. I don't know his name, but they left within about 20, 30 minutes.
Okay. So how long would you say that you were at Mr. Gilbert's home?
Probably about 5 or 6 hours. I got there about 8 or 8:30. And I think the incident happened at like 2. I'm not sure.
Would that be 2 a.m.?
Yep.
Okay. And about how much would you say you drank during that time?
Probably about during the time I was at his house.
Yes.
Probably 6, 8 beers, maybe 6
Okay.
to 8 beers.
And did something happen while you were there?
Meaning
Between you and anyone at the party?
until I was attacked, no.
Okay. So let's start with, you mentioned that you were attacked. How did that start?
I was leaving his property and so I guess you say that something happened. I mean, I guess our dogs were not getting along, but it was not that big of a deal. It was enough for me to decide that I've had enough of it and I was leaving.
Okay. So you and your dog
Was
are
leaving.
leaving
Yep.
Mr. Gilbert's property.
Yep.
What happens next?
Me and my dog get to the end of the driveway on our exiting the property and he yells, "What, are you just mad because my dog fucked your dog up?" And I turned around and I said, "What?" And
All right, so I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah,
Who was saying this to you?
Drew.
And do you see Drew here in the courtroom?
Do I what?
Do you see him in the courtroom?
Yes,
Could you please point to him and tell me something he's wearing?
right there, white shirt, striped shirt.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
It's reflected.
So he accuses you of being angry about an interaction between your dogs.
Sure.
What happens next?
When he said that, I turned around and I said, "What?" And he charges after me. Comes running at me from about 20 feet away.
What did you do?
I said, "Don't do it. Don't do it, dude," because he's running at me to attack me.
Okay.
And,
So as he's running at you, what is his body language like?
like, I'm charging you, and I assumed he was about to punch me or hurt me in some way.
How dark was it outside?
Dark.
Dark? Were there street lights?
He has a motion light, so it's pretty lit up.
Okay. So when you say a motion light, describe that for me?
There's a motion light over his door to into his trailer.
Okay. So how lit up would you say it was?
I mean, lit up enough for me to see him and see his girlfriend standing there and him standing there. But I mean, it's dark outside. Obviously, it's 2 a.m.
Okay. So what, if anything, do you do as the defendant's running up to you?
I tell him probably 2 or 3 times, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop." And
What
he-
happens next?
He just keeps coming at me. So when he got close enough and tried to take a swing at me, I dropped my dog's leash, ducked his punch, put my arms over his arms, underneath his armpits, grabbed his shirt like this. So I had him completely locked up, took him to the ground. And I told him, I told you not to do this. I'm not gonna fight you.
Objection to his commentary about what he said, Judge. It's not relevant. Well, let me not say it's not relevant. I think it's hearsay.
Well, Your Honor, it's
It's
his statement, so
my-
it's no, it's not
It's
hearsay.
still an out of court statement. What's it relevant for, Ms. Bailey?
Well, Your Honor, it's part of
Just
the,
move it. I'm gonna sustain the objection. Just, what did you do next?
What, okay, so where are we at right now? So
Okay.
You're having some conversation with him and holding him, and what happens next?
I let him up. And I went to grab my dog's leash. I bent down and he came from behind and tackled me again and attacked me again.
all right, so when you say that he tackled you again, how did he tackle you again?
It all happened really fast, but it was like out of the corner of my eye. By the time I even realized he was on me again, he was already on me.
So
Boom.
when you say he was on you, how was he on you? Was he like,
Bum rushing me. Yes, just like that
okay.
from the
so
side,
let
knock me down.
So objection to the prosecutor testifying from her body language. I think the witness needs to indicate for the record what is actually
That's
happening.
fine.
I was halfway through a question and
Yeah,
got.
I understand that. Yeah, let her complete the question before you answer. her.
Okay.
So when you say he was on top of you, what, had he like jumped onto your back? Had he jumped like come at you from the side, trying to tackle you down, like sometimes you see in football?
From the side, I
Okay.
was like bent down, so he came from the side like this. I seen out of the corner of my eye, and he just hit me from somewhere over here,
Okay.
and I went down.
Let the record reflect that the witness has indicated that he was bent over and the defendant came at him on his right side and pushed him down onto his left side.
That's reflected.
What happens next?
It's all flashes to me, but we rolled around for what felt like probably a minute. He's trying to punch me. I wasn't swinging back. I was just playing defense. My thought was to just get him off of me and get out of there.
Okay, so did any of the punches land on your body?
Not solid. They were deflecting
Okay.
off my head, off my body, off wherever I was deflecting them. I was getting out of the way.
Okay. And was that the only type of physical interaction was punches, or did something more happen?
After about a minute of rolling around and trying to get him off me, and he was just on me the whole time. He got on top of me, and at that point I was exhausted. And
Right,
he's
so
on-
I'm gonna stop you for 1 second, okay? When
Okay.
you say he got on top of you, how were you positioned?
I'm my back on the ground.
Okay, you were on your back on the ground.
Mhm.
And how was the defendant on top of you?
On top of me with both hands around my neck, strangling me.
Okay, so was he sitting on you?
He had his knees and his whole body on me,
Okay,
on top of me.
okay, so were his knees on your chest or somewhere else?
Yeah, somewhere
On
me.
your
He
torso?
had me pinned down with his hands around my neck.
Okay, let the record reflect that in response to my question, the witness took both of his hands and motioned up and down his chest and torso area.
That's reflected.
So you also mentioned that something was going on with your throat. Can you describe that for me?
He was strangling me with both of his hands.
And how were his hands positioned on your neck?
Like this.
Okay, let the record reflect that the witness has put both of his hands out in front of him, is touching both thumbs together, and has made a circle with the rest of his hands in front of him. How long would you
It's reflected.
say that lasted for?
Probably about 10 seconds.
Were you able to breathe?
No.
Objection to the leading of the nature of the question.
Were you able to, is yes or no, overall answer?
Were you able to breathe at that time?
No.
And did you experience anything else during this time where you were being strangled?
Experience anything else? How?
Did anything happen with your vision?
Objection to the leading, Judge.
Sustained.
What, if anything, happened with your vision?
Judge, it's a just the answer. That's the nature of a leading question. I object.
Well, Your Honor, it's not suggesting an answer. It's a more direct question, directing him on what sort of things I'm asking about.
Mr. Councilman,
A leading,
I understand. Here's, Mr. Martin, as this incident was going on, was there anything else? Describe to me what you were feeling.
I was feeling like I was about to die. My eyes were bugged out of my head. I couldn't breathe and I had zero energy. I couldn't get him off of me.
What happened next?
As he's strangling me and all while that's going on, he looks at me and he says, "Did you ever think this is how you go?"
what did you take that
Go
to
ahead.
mean?
Did you think this is how you're gonna die? Did you ever think this is how you're gonna die?
So you stated that the strangulation lasted about 10 seconds. How did it stop?
It stopped when he said that. I got enough adrenaline because I realized I really was about to die, and I grabbed a handful of the ground and gave every ounce of everything I had left in me to roll over and get out from underneath him and get him off of me.
Okay. And were you able to do so?
Mhm.
What happens after you're able to?
Yes.
Sorry.
What
Yes,
happens next?
I ran.
Did the defendant say anything after that?
When I was running away, I got across the street and I hear him say, "Tony." And I didn't even look back and I hear "Tony." And then I got far enough away where I couldn't hear anything.
Okay. I have no further
Ms. Rob.
questions.
All right. Say your last name for me again.
Martin?
Mr. Martin. All right, so you said that this was a bonfire that you were attending, and it was a bonfire on Mr. Gilbert's property, right?
Yes.
And you were just walking through the area when you discovered the bonfire, right?
Yes.
You hadn't specifically been invited.
Nope.
You were with your dog?
Yes.
What kind of dog is it?
Black Lab and American Bulldog mix.
How much does your dog weigh?
Relevance?
Oh, it's relevant to, I can,
I'll give her a little bit of leeway. Go ahead.
I haven't weighed him in a while. If I had to guess, probably 80 pounds.
okay, so a large breed dog, you would
Big
say?
dog. Yep.
All right, and Mr. Gilbert's dog was also there that night, correct?
Yes.
And he also how would you describe his dog?
His dog's smaller. His dog is like a cattle dog, probably 60 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe.
Okay, so not as big as your dog,
Yep.
fair to say.
Yes.
Now you've got your dog on a leash, right?
Yes.
And that leash is one of those retractable style leashes, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor,
And
again, what's the relevance?
I'm gonna give her a little bit of leeway, Ms. Bailey. Go ahead.
it's a retractable leash, right?
Yes.
And that retractable leash has a plastic sort of container that holds the lead
Yeah.
part of the leash, correct?
Yes.
Why don't you describe the dimensions of that plastic part of the leash for us, please?
Describe the dimensions of.
Yes.
Your Honor, I understand that you said that you're giving her a little bit of leeway, but this really has absolutely nothing to do.
Ms. Bailey, we're gonna have a problem. Sit down. Sit down. Go ahead, Ms. Robinson.
It's probably about this big.
Okay, and so for the record, would you say that's about 6 or 8 inches wide?
Sure.
Okay, and how many inches tall would you say?
Probably 5.
Okay, probably 5 inches tall. Okay, so you have that leash in your hand when you're walking away from Mr. Gilbert's property that night,
Yes.
correct? And you said that he yelled out to you as you were walking away, right?
Yeah.
And he said something to the effect of, I think you said here, you're just mad that my dog fucked your dog up, right?
Yes.
But I think what you told the police was, you're just mad that my dog kicked your dog's ass.
Okay.
Was that what he actually said?
Sure.
No, I don't want to suggest it. Which one was it?
They're both the same thing to me. I mean, it's kicked his ass, fucked him up. What's this? I mean,
Okay.
it's all it's all
He didn't say anything.
semantics here. Semantics. I mean,
Okay, okay. He didn't say anything in addition to that, though, at that point, correct?
no,
Okay. And your dogs, you said they weren't getting along. They were actually like fighting, right?
not necessarily fighting. His dog was being aggressive to my dog, growling, barking, getting super aggressive with my dog.
Okay, and your dog was getting aggressive back, right?
No,
But your dog was just defenseless?
defending himself with little growls and jumping and getting out of the way of him dog snapping at him. And it wasn't a dog fight.
Okay,
It was
all right.
his dog being aggressive to my dog.
Okay, but you said that there was enough that had happened that you said, you know what, forget it, I'm gonna leave, right?
Yes,
Now you said that as you're walking away, you hear him say that. Do you stop and turn around?
yes,
Okay, and you said that you turn around and you see him charging at you, right?
Yep.
And isn't it true that he kind of trips a little bit as he's running towards you?
I don't remember him tripping.
You don't remember him tripping? Well, he didn't actually punch you at that time, right? He just sort of charged at you and then y'all fall, right?
Charged at me and swung.
He charged at you and swung, but it was a swing and a miss, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and then you got control of him, right?
yes,
You had him pinned to the ground.
yes,
And that carried on. Y'all tussled back and forth, and that went on for
no.
no?
No.
Okay, what happened?
I got him to the ground and I said, I'm not fighting you. I told you not to come charge at me. I said, I'm getting my dog and I'm leaving. I said, look at us. We're 40
Okay,
years
okay,
old.
so I'm gonna stop you
Okay.
because I'm not asking necessarily what you said. I'm asking about what you did. Okay?
Okay, I held him on the ground and then let him up.
Okay. And so it's your testimony that you had been drinking, right?
Yes,
Quite a bit. You would
Yeah.
agree,
yes.
right? And I mean, how tall are you, Mr. Martin?
About 5'10",
5'10", how much do you weigh?
probably 160.
I mean, you were drunk at the time that you left this bonfire,
I
right?
wouldn't say drunk.
You wouldn't say drunk? What would
No.
you call it?
I would call it maintaining a 3-beer buzz for quite a long,
But you had a good buzz,
I had a
right?
good buzz.
Okay, and Mr. Gilbert had been drinking as well, right?
Yeah.
So, so you all are rolling around on the ground. This is a chaotic scene, right?
You're skipping ahead to, you're skipping ahead to a different part of the.
So, and I understand that you may want it to go in a certain order, but my question,
No.
hold on, my question to you is, this was a chaotic scene, correct?
While I was being attacked, yes.
So it was chaos. Y'all were rolling around on the ground.
Yes.
Right? And you said that you don't really remember like punching him or doing anything to him, right?
No,
Okay. Did you see Mr. Gilbert after this incident at all?
no,
Well, you did talk to the police afterwards, right?
yes.
And the police made you aware that his face was really bloody, right?
Objection, Your Honor, that would be lack of personal knowledge as well as hearsay.
Excuse me.
Response, Ms. Robinson.
Okay, I'll move on. So you can remember everything that Mr. Gilbert did, right?
Most of it,
Okay, and you can remember everything that he said, right?
most of it. Some of it.
But you can't remember if you even laid one punch on his face, right?
I hope I did. I would have not been wrong if I would have punched him 100 times because it was in defense.
But my
I do not remember taking a swing,
You don't remember taking a
not
swing,
once.
right?
Nope.
And so you were just out there defending yourself,
I
right?
was trying to get away.
But you were defending yourself and trying to
Defending
get away.
myself,
I'm
yes.
talking, and so let me finish my question,
Okay.
please.
Your
You got
Honor,
it.
So,
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
She does have to finish her question.
I know, but she's being argumentative with my
I
witness now.
understand that.
And
I understand that, and I'm gonna call her on it if she doesn't tone it down.
okay, so Mr. Gilbert, my question is, you were trying to get away, you said, right?
Yes,
And you were trying to defend yourself, right?
yes.
But it's your testimony that you can't even remember whether you punched him one time.
Nope.
Okay. Now, after this happened, you didn't go to like the police station, right?
Mm-mm.
You sure didn't. You
No.
didn't.
You gotta answer yes.
No, sorry.
All right.
That's okay.
And you didn't try to get to a hospital, right?
Not immediately, no.
No, you went to a friend's house, correct?
Yes,
And you stayed at that friend's house for several hours, right?
yes, probably.
And
the police
Stop, Ms.
I'm sorry.
Robinson. So this incident happened. And there, you testified that there was this strangulation.
Mhm.
And it rattled you. Is that fair?
100%.
Okay, did you actually think that you were going to die?
Yes. I 100% believe. I
Go
was
ahead,
gonna
Ms.
die.
Robinson.
I would be dead if I wouldn't have had the energy.
I
I'm gonna
understand that,
strike-
I'm gonna strike that answer,
thank
but
you.
go ahead, Ms. Robinson.
Okay, so you didn't go to the ambulance, you didn't go to the police, right? The
No.
police actually came to you, right?
No, I called the police.
You called the police, but it was multiple hours after the fact?
Yes.
Okay. During this incident, you were actually yelling out for help, right?
Yes.
While you were being strangled, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you could talk.
No.
You couldn't talk, but you were yelling, wait, so,
I was yelling for help before he was actually strangling me.
okay, and were you yelling for help after he finished strangling you?
No, I got up.
Okay.
After.
But you were able to speak with a normal voice shortly after this incident, correct?
Sure.
Okay, just a moment, please. Judge, I don't have any further questions.
Ms. Bailey, anything else?
No.
You can step down, Mr. Martin. Motion, Ms. Bailey.
Your Honor, at this time, if people move for bind over, and if the court would like to hear argument, I will most happily provide it.
Ms. Robinson.
Judge, they've got this case, what I'm gonna say significantly, I'll wait until the witness, please.
Yep, that's fine.
The people have chosen to charge this case as an assault with intent to murder.
I
think it's
see that.
a gross overstatement of what the facts are here. It's clear from the testimony that these were two individuals who had been drinking for multiple hours over the course of the night. There's a dispute between the dogs. There's some trash talking, essentially. When my client is alleged to have first charged with this individual, it is a swing and a miss, and they fall to the ground, and the complaining witness clearly gets control of the situation. They tussle and roll. And in the midst of this allegation, if you believe what the witness says, he puts his hands around the complaining witness's neck and says some words, "Did you think this was going to go out?" But this is happening in the midst of what even the witness admits is a chaotic fight. There's a jury instruction that goes along with the assault with intent to murder charge, and it says that if the people were going to prove this, they would have to show that the intent to kill would not have been legally justified. And I think there's also an instruction that talks about how if the killing had been successful, it couldn't have been under circumstances that would have reduced the crime to a manslaughter. To me, this is a classic brawl that arises in the midst of.
I want to hear the response just on that issue, on reducing it to the crime of manslaughter, because I agree with Ms. Robinson that
So, Your Honor, I completely disagree with the both of you, to be quite frank. The victim says he was walking away.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the, stop, Miss Bailey. I want to hear on the specific issue on response to the jury instruction. Give it to me, Ms. Robinson, that specifically says,
if you find that the crime would have been manslaughter had the person died, then you must find the defendant not guilty of assault with intent to murder. And that's jury instruction 17.3.
but that still, once they have the full, that's not an issue for this probable cause hearing, though, because it's still an issue of fact for a jury to decide. Listen, I'm not going to disagree with you, Ms. Robinson, that count 2 and 3, you could save your argument. It's a bind over on count 2 and 3. But on count 1, I'm not going to disagree with you that I think that it's probably an overcharge, but I think that that's a decision for the trier of fact. And I get it. Do I think that he'll ever be convicted on a charge on count 1? No, probably not.
But
But for,
you gotta have evidence that there was
But-
actual intent.
and
to
that's
murder.
why, if I believe that he said that to him, and I believe that he felt that he was gonna die, then I think that that's enough for a probable cause. And you can disagree with me all day, but I'm gonna bind the defendant over. The arraignment on the information will take place 2 weeks from today on June the 8th at 9 a.m. And I'll continue the bond. You're all set.
Thanks.
People versus Davian Copeland. I saw Miss Nelson in here. What are you doing here, Mr. Kearney? You're just visiting? You're lying. I'm joking. Come on up, Miss Nelson. I called your case.
Yeah, sorry, I was just kidding.
No worries. Don't apologize. I looked up and saw that you weren't in here. Okay, have a seat, Mr. Copeland. You ready on Copeland, Ms. Bailey? People versus Davion Copeland.
Bryn Bailey on behalf of the people, P 84009.
Sophia Nelson of Neighborhood Defender Services on behalf of Mr. Copeland, P 77960.
Call your first witness. Ms.
Your Honor,
Bailey.
I do not have any witnesses. It doesn't appear that any subpoenas were sent or delivered.
Not your fault. Ms. Bailey, not your fault. Motion.
Your Honor, I would ask that this case not be bound over. I would add that.
No. You're doing a motion to dismiss.
Motion to dismiss.
Granted. You're all set. Not your fault, Ms. Bailey. You got stuck with all of these cases today. Do not. Mr. Copeland, your attorney will explain to you that there's a possibility that the state will refile this case, and at that time, we'll deal with it. But for today, it's dismissed. Okay?
Thank you.
Is Miss Demont Grady going through the Jackson file?
I did leave her with about 4 or 5 videos. I'm not sure how long they are,
That's fine.
but yeah, she was set up with us.
Perfect. Let me go, we are live streaming. Let me stop that.